What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, a couple days ago, I threw it back to like some of the origins of this channel when I did the NBA Would You Rather. Today, we're throwing it back even further when I do the NBA Start, Bench, Cut. Yeah, it's one of the original series on this channel, but I feel like doing it again. Now, the way this is going to work, we're going to see an NBA or three NBA players in one image, and we got to start one, we got to bench one, and we got to cut one. And a lot of the times, it's very difficult for me. Because of that, I'm going to let y'all know right up front, every decision that I make in this video is based off my preferences and my opinions. I may cut somebody that you think is the best player to ever lace up a pair of Nikes. We're just gonna disagree, and that's fine, right? It's fine for us to disagree. So keep that in mind as we're going through these. Before we get into it, you know I gotta do my shout out to the day. So shout out to the homies here, wherever you at. Shout out to you for supporting the channel. Let's get into it. Al Jefferson, Greg Monroe, and JaVale McGee. Makes a lot of sense. Greg Monroe just did get traded a couple days ago, but let's get into this, man. Without a doubt, I ain't even gotta think twice about it. Who I'm starting is JaVale McGee. And it's not because I think he's a superior player than these other two dudes. It's purely for the comedy. Now, I know the past couple years when he's been in Golden State, he hasn't done anything extremely crazy. He still has his moments. But before he was in Golden State, he was pure comedy. He was Shaq and the Fool MVP for a reason. When he was on the court, you knew something was going to happen. And what he did was not always helping the team. A lot of the time, he didn't help the team. But when he's tripping over his own feet, trying to duck from the free throw line, things like that, just the crazy stuff JaVale McGee does, ultimately, he is in my Hall of Fame. My personal Hall of Fame is players that I will love forever. So JaVale McGee is getting the start. Now, between Al Jefferson and Greg Monroe, to be honest with y'all, they are very similar players that are all offense, really no defense, players that would be really good in either the early 2000s or the late 90s. So these big men that are just back to the basket, give me the ball and let me go to work. Those what these guys are. I guess if I had to pick, I'd bench Greg Monroe and cut Al Jefferson. Now, when I say bench, I don't mean he's the 12th man on my roster. When I say bench, I mean he's my 6th man. So whatever my starting fives ends up being, Greg Monroe is the first guy off my bench, which is kind of what his role has been when he was in Milwaukee. We'll see where he ends up because he's not going to play in Phoenix. But that's the start bench cut for the first. Start bench cut, the small guys, Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues, and Nate Robinson. No matter how hard I want to do it, I don't want to be biased, but I'm going to be biased here. We're starting Nate Robinson. His time in Chicago was great for me. Me and Nate Robinson are pretty much the same size. And to see a guy like that takes him amongst the trees, the 7-foot players and things like that, it always makes me feel good as a person. Because growing up, I wanted to be a hooper. I wanted to be in the league, but I knew I wasn't going to be tall because my dad is not tall and things like that. So I knew I wasn't going to be tall, but seeing players like Nate Robinson, Isaiah Thomas now for you younger guys, seeing those young players be good NBA players, it gives me a little hope. So because of that, Nate Robinson is my dude. And let's not talk about, well, actually, let's talk about his time when he's in Chicago when Derrick Rose was out and he made some big shots for us in the playoffs against Brooklyn. We're starting Nate Robinson. Now for the other two guys, they were before my time. So Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb, only thing I know about them is the numbers and just the highlights that I have seen. And between these two players, who has the better highlights? It's gotta be Spud Webb because he was yamming it. Dude was 5 foot, let's say 5'4", 5'5", in that area. He was 5 foot and he was dunking the ball. We're not talking rim grazers. He was throwing it down. So because of that, we'll bench him and we'll cut Muggsy. No disrespect to Muggsy. I'm sure he was a great player. He was a great actor in Space Jam, but he's getting a cut right now. Start bench cut Wiggins, Harrison Barnes, and Rudy Gay. Now, I'm going to think about all of this as in right now. So we're not talking about Rudy Gay from the Kings. We're not talking about the Grizzlies, Rudy Gay. We're talking about right now, and that kind of makes it easy. We're going to cut him. He's having a good season here in San Antonio, but not on the level of Wiggins and Harrison Barnes. I'm going to start Wiggins. I'm a really big fan of Wiggins' game, and I know one of the major knocks on him is that he's all offense. He don't really pass the ball well. He's not a rebounder. He has the potential to be a good defender, but he's just not there yet. But nonetheless, him being his age makes me a real big fan of him. Him being super young, and he's still averaging 20 points per game on the, well, right now I don't think he's averaging 20 because he's got another body in Jimmy Butler. But last year, him averaging 20 points per game is actually really big. I'm a big fan of him. Cornrow Wiggy is getting a start. So that means we're benching Harrison Barnes, and there's nothing against Harrison Barnes. He's still a good NBA player too, but I would pick Wiggins over him. Start bench cut Marcus Smart, Patrick Beverley, and Jeremy Lin. Without a doubt, the best offensive player here is Jeremy Lin. It's not even close. Jeremy Lin is a superior offensive dude than Marcus Smart and Patrick Beverley. But honestly, Again, my bias is coming in, but it's my video. I have the right to be biased. I'm starting Patrick Beverley, and I'm starting him because I'm a hometown dude, man. If I see somebody from the city I grew up in be successful, he's gonna have my vote in pretty much anything. And let's not mention that when he's on the court, he's one of the most tenacious players in the league. He's hounding you 100% of the time, and that's where he's making his buck. He's not going out there dropping 15 or 20 points per game that Jeremy Lin might be able to do, but he makes his money on the defensive side. It's a Chicago thing, man. It's a Chicago thing. Patrick Beverley, Tony Allen, not Wiggins. Iggy went back in his day. Dwayne Wade was a great defender. Iman Shumpert was a great defender. There's plenty more. Trust me, this Isaiah Thomas. There are plenty more great defenders from this city. It's just what we do. First team all defense. Patrick Beverley's getting a start, and I think I'm gonna come off my bench. I'm going to have Jeremy Lin for the offensive capabilities. Big fan of Jeremy Lin, again, as a person too, but not over Patrick Beverley. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery and next year can come back and be better than what he was. And Marcus Smart is a guy that you either hate or you love, but I don't know what I do. I like to watch him play. He's a fun guy to play for that tenacity that Patrick Beverley has. Is just not on to that level just yet because he's still pretty young. Like his defensive play, but in this case, he's getting cut. Having a great season. His team is having a great season. Shout out to the Celtics fans out there. I would be very, very happy if I were y'all. But let's get to the next one. Star bench cut. George Mirasan, Manu Bo, and Sean Bradley. The tallest players to ever play, excluding Yao Ming. But these guys are up there too. Because if Yao was in this, it's no doubt we're starting Yao. But these are guys that are very similar in play. Amazing shot blockers. I mean, when you 7'6", 7'7", you better be an amazing shot blocker. I'm going to start Manu Bo. His rookie season, his first year in the league, he averaged 5 blocks per game in 80 games. 5 blocks per game. Yeah, rest in peace, Manu Bo. So he's getting my start. I'm very excited to see his son play when he comes to the league. I'm sure he's going to make it. Not a big fan of college basketball, but I will be watching his son at least a couple times when he makes it to college. So Manu Bo, rest in peace. You getting my start. Coming off my bench, I'm having Sean Bradley because just like Manu Bo, he was an elite shot blocker. He averaged like 4.5 blocks over like a long time. These guys were elite defending paint protectors, exactly what you would want in the big man. And with George Mirasan, he did have his years where he was a great blocker. Again, if you're 7'7", you're gonna get blocks. Even if you're not trying, you do like this, you're covering half the court. You feel me? So he was having his years where he was averaging 2 blocks, 3 blocks, but that's nothing even compared to the other two guys. So George Mirasan's not getting my start. Pretty good actor though. Rest in peace, Manu Bo. Sean Bradley coming off the bench. Star bench cut, Ray Allen, Steve Francis, and Chauncey Billups. Yo, we're kicking it back to basically when I started watching basketball. These are 3 guys that I did not like missing their games. So right now, for you younger guys, you probably see Ray Allen as just like this elite three-point shooter, which he is. He is the all-time leader in three-point shooting, but that's not what his entire game was. Back in the Supersonics, he was dunking on people. He was more than just a spot-up, coming off screens, three-point shooter. He evolved to that in old age. He's always been a great shooter, don't get me wrong, but his role was way more than coming off screens and hitting shots. He was driving, he was dunking, fast break, he was lethal. Man, I think I just talked myself into starting Ray Allen. I don't feel bad about that. We started Ray Allen just because he was so diverse. He has such a long career in this league. And because of that, I think we may have to bench Steve Francis. His prime was just a little bit too short for me. And I would like a player like Chauncey Billups that, I mean, he led a team to a championship that I don't think they had any all-stars that year. Like, not an all-star. They had players that were all-star caliber because Chauncey Billups, he's an all-star caliber. You know, he's Hall of Fame caliber. They had Ben Wallace. They had Richard Hamilton. But none of these guys were all-stars the year that they won a championship. That means something. This guy was an elite point guard in his time. And even though I really like Steve Francis, he's an explosive player. Very fun to watch offensively. I think the other 2 guys are getting the nudge just a little bit. Star bench cut, Ben Wallace, Patrick Ewing, and David Robinson. We're starting David Robinson. It's not even close. He is probably the number 2 or number 3 center of all time on my list. Maybe number 3 or number 4 center on my all-time list. And I'm not even gonna give y'all the list, but he was just so elite. Offensively, defensively, he had no flaws in his game. Back in the day, these big men did not expand their range, so I'm not gonna fault him for not having a mid-range or a 3-point shot. It's just not how the game was. But the dude got a quadruple double as a big man. I mean, that just doesn't happen. Quadruple doubles don't happen. He basically had the last one back in the 90s, and he had a 71-point game. Was it boosted a little bit? We won't talk about it, but he had a 70-point game, multiple 70-point games, I'm pretty sure. He was just an elite player, and he's gonna get my start. And I think I'm gonna bench Patrick Ewing. No offense to Ben Wallace, he was an amazing defender, but just like what I said in the last one, his prime is just a little bit too short for me. And even though he was a great defender, he was small, man. Even in this picture, his wingspan just looks really small. And I know Patrick Ewing and David Robinson, they're gonna be elite defenders for a long time. So I'll start who I said. We're gonna bench Patrick Ewing and we're gonna cut Ben Wallace. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave it a like. Sorry that I missed yesterday's upload. I've been having some real troubles with my health over the past 5 or 6 months. And yesterday I went in, we got a lot of testing done. So hopefully in 24 hours, maybe by the time you guys are watching this video, I'll know exactly what's going on. And hopefully it's nothing serious, you know. But shout out to the people on Twitter that I've been telling you guys this over the past couple months. I've been sending prayers and good lucks and everything. Hopefully I'm good. But I will make up for it for not uploading yesterday. I'll make up with it. For maybe Sunday I'll double upload, Saturday I'll double upload. You will get the same amount of videos even though I missed yesterday. All right. Thank y'all so much for supporting the channel. I can't even explain it. We're back to jumping so many subscribers a day. So shout out to all the new homies joining the squad, the kingdom. Let me know if you like this idea. Me going back to some of the stuff that kind of got me popping and giving it another chance. Or let me know if there's some other NBA type games you want to see me do. That's what the comment section is for. So let's make that shout out to question of the day. Some stuff you want to see me do, whether it be something going back in the past or looking forward to the future. All right. Thank y'all. I love y'all. I don't even know if I can say that even more. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.
Paris, Copenhagen, I can't tell the difference. That's how you know a nigga living. Crisscross the globe like baseball stages, going back and forth to politicking. Henny sipping, real nigga mid condition. My